This is the crown jewel, Mr. Good as Gold. This is Connor Hopkins.
I am Eric S. Knight.
And I'm a league champion.
And we are the chosen prodigal sons, and this is the Shotgun Wrestling Radio podcast.
What's up, everybody? It's Leon King here, of course, the baddest of the baddest, and you are now listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is Gavin Parker, and you're listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is the mechanic Big Beasley, and you are listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is your deathmatch daddy Bo guy, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Zach Takis. Tonight, we are doing a little preview here for Eminent Wrestling Alliance as Eminent Wrestling Alliance makes its return to Swisher, Iowa this coming Saturday. That's right, Saturday at Swisher. If you haven't been to one of the Swisher, Iowa shows yet, they are an absolute blast out there at the Swisher Legion Hall. Kind of really takes you back to that old school independent wrestling feeling. It's just a smaller venue, but the crowd is always raucous and loud there at the Legion Hall, and it's just like it's really fun. Like, again, the guys are limited in what they can do, but they still make it work. They still make it a great environment, still make it a fun show. And this week, I'm honored and excited to be joined by the one and the only, the current Eminent Wrestling Alliance champion, the one and only Mr. Reginald Paul Gray. Reginald Paul Gray, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. And don't forget, not only am I the current, I'm the longest reigning, and I have the most time of offenses. So, pretty great.
Absolutely, man. Especially as we're getting ready to head into another show here this coming Saturday. Again, a lot of things just really starting to turn right now for Eminent Wrestling Alliance. Doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon as far as you guys' busy schedule for the rest of the year. And again, we're just going to kind of get right into this, man. Were you always a fan of wrestling growing up as a kid?
So I actually got into wrestling about 2008, which sounds like a long time ago, but it was. I was only like 11, I think. And I got into it because of SmackDown versus Raw 2008, the video game. My cousin got it for Christmas one year, and I played it, and I loved it. As I was hooked from there.
That's pretty interesting, because you usually don't hear about people getting into wrestling through video games. So what was it about for you, the video game, that turned you into a wrestling fan?
It's the Boogeyman. I absolutely love the Boogeyman from the game. That was it.
Oh, that's awesome. Boogeyman is actually making his way to Iowa here in September for Central Empire Wrestling's Bridge City Slam show. So if you guys don't have a show and you want to meet the Boogeyman, that might be your opportunity there if you're not booked on a show with him sometime down the line, because who knows what can happen with Eminent Wrestling Alliance with everybody that we've been bringing in here this year for them as well.
Yeah, I think we got Just Incredible, Rikishi,
Yep.
and Mr. Kennedy coming up. So
Okay, nice. Yeah, Just Incredible will be at the Tama show May 18th. For more information on that, head over to the Eminent Wrestling Alliance Facebook page for more information. I believe tickets are on sale for that one now as well. So yeah, the former ECW competitor Justin Incredible making his Tama Eminent Wrestling Alliance debut. So that'll be very exciting. So okay, you got into it because of the video games. What was it for you that inspired you to want to become a professional wrestler?
So it's always been a dream of mine to be a wrestler. Like ever since I was like 13, 14, I was like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. But then I never like did it until last year. Around this time, it was actually when I started training. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was trying to get into it, and we were both talking about the Forge. He was already talking to some of the wrestlers, and I just we talked about it, and eventually I got in contact with the Forge, and everything's magic from there.
Now, when it came time to you actually stepping foot into the Forge Wrestling Academy, when you actually kind of got there, got your feet, got kind of into the building, you see the ring, you see Justin Fowler and everybody there that's in your class, what was kind of running through your head? Was it kind of one of those too good to be true things for you?
Mostly it was what I get myself into. Because I actually had a really rough time the first couple weeks of training. So before training, I was about 230 pounds, and I didn't work out. I didn't do anything. I actually puked 5 times the first day, 5 times the second week. I couldn't do anything, honestly, and I was miserable. So I was definitely going, what did I get myself into after the first couple of weeks? But eventually, everything started to click. I felt like $1,000,000, and now I'm champ.
Was there anything about that first week of training? Like, actually, let's take it back to your very first day. What was the first day of training like for you guys? I know they usually run you guys through a lot of conditioning drills and stuff like that. So for you, what was that very
So
first day like?
the first day was we did conditioning. I puked multiple times. We then started doing front rolls, and I could barely get through those. We started doing back rolls, couldn't do that well. Running the ropes was the pain. Taking my first bump sucked. I hit my head on the mat. It hurt. I didn't want to move, but I pushed forward, and I continued to go at it, and I continued to try to improve. And eventually, I did. And it wasn't for like at least the first 3-4 weeks. I think wasn't like I was consistently getting better, but it wasn't great. It was after that 4th or 5th week that everything really started to click for me.
So for folks who might be interested in going to training and becoming a professional wrestler, and folks that might be interested in how long a session typically takes, how long was the session for you guys? Because obviously you're talking 4th, 5th week. How long is a typical session for the Forge?
4 to 5 hours. We'd get there about 9:30, 10, and then we wouldn't leave until like 2:30. So quite a lot, quite a lot.
And then as far as the weeks, how many weeks of training and how many days a week were you guys in there?
So we had open gyms Tuesdays and Thursdays, so we'd go and do those, and then we had training on Sunday. So about 3 days a week is when we'd show up to continue doing stuff.
What was the one thing that while you were training that surprised you the most?
Eventually, after I started getting the hang of everything, how much I enjoyed just how much I enjoyed it. I never expected myself to enjoy honestly just getting hurt as much as I did. Eventually, like it just turned into like when people wanted to try something, like some new move or like some crazy kind of bump type thing, I'd always volunteer to take said bump. And eventually, I just started getting called a bump dummy because I would take just about anything.
Well, and again, that's how you build up the callus of taking those bumps, and that way, when the next time you get in there, boom, you just do it, and you just built up that callus to it. That's something you kind of hear from every wrestler that's really ever trained before. And again, I'm gonna spit forward here a little bit to this coming weekend and run down a couple of the matches we got announced so far. We have Marley taking on Gavin Parker in Swisher, Iowa, this coming Saturday. Again, Swisher, Iowa, great place. We have you defending your EWA Heavyweight Championship against the one and only the rock star Adam Love. So that's going to be a big match for you here coming up. Adam Love always has a big fan base, it seems like, wherever he goes. So you're going to be walking into some, I'm sure, hostile territory there in Swisher. And you're no stranger to wrestling in Swisher, so you know what it's like.
No. Yeah, I mean, everywhere I go, it's a hostile territory. I'm always having a match against the fan favorite. But I'm a winner, so I'm just gonna do my thing and win. Some people might not like the way I win, but I still win.
Well, and again, you're the longest reigning champion for a reason. So it's, I mean, you're backing up what you're spitting. So also coming up here this coming Saturday, we have the EWA Tag Team Championship on the line as Supernova defends their tag team titles against the team of Wes Wakefield and Jacob Erickson, the Fallen. That should be a very exciting matchup. We also have Big Beasley taking on AJ O'Callahan. Again, that's all going down this coming Saturday, Swisher, Iowa. Bell time, I believe, is 6:30 p.m. Tickets are available. Head over to the Eminent Wrestling Alliance Facebook page For more information, click the ticket link, get your tickets early. Otherwise, you can get tickets at the door there in Swisher if you decide to go kind of last minute deals. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. But getting back to more, about learning about you and what you're about here, man. So after you guys started your training, how long after you finally officially finished training were they like, okay, here's your first match, and what are some of your memories from your first match?
So I think it was about 15, 16 weeks of training. And my first match, funnily enough, was against Adam Love. I remember it quite clearly. I was having multiple panic attacks in the back because I got the first show jitters, and I went out there, and for a second I was like, "What am I doing? I don't like being in front of people." But after that went away, all I felt was a rush, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like that, the feel of the crowd just is invigorating. It makes you feel like $1,000,000. Just hearing the crowd, standing in front of them. And my match against Adam, like I had a good time. He beat me up pretty good. I had my cell phone out there for some reason. But eventually down the road in our match, he got distracted. I don't know by who. Might have been Dean Wilson. And then he got kneed. I didn't see it. I was on the mat hurt, so.
I think, if I remember, I believe that was one of the matches I called for one of the Tama shows. I believe that was at Become the Bull, which is available on Eminent Wrestling Alliance YouTube page. So if you want to see Reginald's very first matchup, head over to the Eminent Wrestling Alliance YouTube page, click subscribe, scroll down. You'll be able to find it from last year and just a lot of other great matches that we've had here on the Eminent Wrestling Alliance YouTube page. So yeah, I do remember the cell phone bit. It was kind of one of those things for me. And I'm like, that's not really something I guess we've seen since, Tyler Breeze used to do the cell phone thing with the camera, but the way you utilized it wasn't really something that we had ever seen before. Was that something you came up with, or was that kind of a collaborative effort with, Fouts and Fowler, and about how you guys developed your character?
It was kind of a collaborative effort. We were trying to do what is it? I'm on my cryptocurrency. I was a cryptocurrency guy, and I still am. But eventually, it just kind of turned into, why would I bring down my $1,400 phone that my opponent could possibly break? So I stopped being stupid and stopped bringing my phone to the ring.
But hey, it was a great way to kind of first get you out there and get kind of a little bit of a character out there and get some, character development work for you.
I mean, wrestling, all it really is evolution. You got to change. If you don't, you get left behind.
Yeah, that is for damn sure, my friend. That is a great way to look at it. So again, we talked about your first matchup. Now that you've actually had quite a few matchups under your belt here, have you developed any type of pre-match ritual that you kind of tend to follow before each match?
I use the restroom.
Did you have a bad experience?
No, I'm just like, I got that. I always get those pre-match jitters, and for whatever reason, it always turns into, I gotta go use the restroom real quick. I do like stretches. I chat with Dean, Austin, now Supernova, about what's going to happen a little bit, but I just kind of pace, stretch, not too crazy.
Out of all the matches that you've had so far, do you have a current favorite one that you've had?
Oh, McGregor, James McGregor, Grinnell. That is by far my favorite match I've had. He beat the literal tar out of me, and it was great. I had a really, really good time with it because I won through cheating, according to some people. Even though there's no rules, I get called a cheater a lot. All right, but if you watch, if you were at the last Tama show, notice I didn't use a weapon the entire match. Both my opponents did. I did not, but I'm a cheater.
Now, you've been lucky enough to actually kind of hit the road here and do some traveling with Eminent Wrestling Alliance. As again, they've just kind of making their way across Iowa, and a lot of you guys have been lucky enough. I know you're getting lucky enough to make your RCCW debut up in Wisconsin. I know a lot of you guys have kind of made your debuts for MAW as well, which is great to see the different partnerships going on here with the Forge Wrestling Academy and Eminent Wrestling Alliance that's been going on. So you've been able to see a lot of different independent wrestlers throughout your time here. Do you have a current dream match opponent of somebody that you would like to face that you haven't yet?
It's hard. Because there's a lot of people I'd love to face. But like I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head. Other than like I would say like Jackson King would be one I'd love to have a match against. Obviously Fowler. I think Fowler's a little too much out of my league, but I think he'd beat the crap out of me. But love to have a match with Fowler. And those are like there's plenty of others that I just not really coming to mind, but yeah.
Well, I'd love to see. I'll throw one out there for you, Gavin Parker. I mean, Gavin's been making some ways for himself through Eminent Wrestling Alliance. I think you two could have a really fun battle together.
Gavin is by far one of the most talented wrestlers I've ever shared a ring with. So we had our graduation match against each other. I won it. Fun enough, he actually every time we've been in a ring together, I've beat him. But it's always through some sort of underhanded tactic, I bet. Gavin, he catches on quick. He's a very quick wrestler. He does phenomenal moves constantly. He's always upping his game. He's just a phenomenal wrestler. And I'm very, like, every time I have him and we're in a match together, I know that he's going to do something crazy, and I got to stop him somehow.
When you guys are traveling from show to show, what's usually getting, or what do you guys listen to in the car? Or you guys just kind of swapping stories and just shooting the shit? What do you guys listen to?
So we shoot the shit. I know you had Dean on here a couple weeks ago, and he said that it's my car, my music. So I also do a lot of like rap. So I listen to a lot of like J. Cole, Eminem, Tech Nine, Prof, Hobson. But also listen to like a lot of heavy metal. So like Electric Callboys, and a huge favorite of mine. I'll play them on occasion. I'll play Flight of the Conchords, which is just more comedy music. So like I have a variety of music, but most of the time it's some sort of rap.
Do you have a special like post match food that you like to get like to hit up as you're heading out of town after you guys have done the teardown? Is there a post match food you guys love to hit?
If we hit someplace up, quick start.
Hey, they have great chicken. I mean,
they've got really good chicken. They've got good burgers.
Yes, I had the burgers. I had the burgers a few weeks. I had the burgers a few weeks back when I was actually heading to a EWA show. I grabbed a couple burgers for the yeah. They're burgers for being gas station burgers. Not that bad.
Yeah.
That's why I always laugh when the non like Iowa person makes fun of us and our gas station food. I'm like, do not knock our gas station food until you fucking try it.
The best pizza in the world, Casey's Pizza.
Yes, absolutely.
The absolute best. If I ever leave Iowa and I come back, I'm getting Casey's Pizza. It's amazing.
It should be illegal how good that pizza is, especially their breakfast
pizza.
It
really should.
Ooh. I can eat the breakfast pizza every day. That's deadly.
Yep. Delicious pizza.
So getting back to your wrestling fandom here, man, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestlers?
Oh, God, that's a lot of people. So if I gotta go with four, I'm gonna go with the four that two of them I think are two of the greatest wrestlers to ever do the wrestling business. One of them just for helping wrestling itself, Hulk Hogan. Wrestling, I don't think wrestling would be where it's at without Hulk Hogan at all. The boom in the 80s into the 90s, huge for Hulk Hogan. Another one, little like, well, I think a bit more controversial, Chris Benoit. He is pound for pound one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live. All right, he had phenomenal matches with everybody, and he was just a really, really good wrestler. And then the other two are two that I like. I definitely took a lot of inspiration from. One is Chris Jericho. Once again, he's wrestling in his, I think, early to mid 50s, still putting on bangers, even at such an age. And then my favorite wrestler of all time is absolutely love the Miz. He I don't know what it is. I love everything about him. Um, I've always found him entertaining. And then his promo work is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
And I feel like it wasn't until just here these last several years people started finally giving Miz his flowers. I've been a Miz
Oh yeah.
fan since back from the Real World. I remember watching this dude on the Real World, and he's like, "I want to be a wrestler going when he's gets done doing that." And I was like, and that kind of captivated me towards him. And then to see him do the Tough Enough show, and then to kind of see him just literally work from the bottom of the ring of the reins, work his way up. And yeah, the work he's doing even now with R-Truth is hilarious. He can play both your heel and your baby face really, really
Yep.
great, where you have some guys that can really just do one really, really well. Like I don't consider Randy Orton like a great baby face. I consider Randy Orton more of a heel, and I think that's where he should stay. I get kind of they're still playing the baby face role for him because he just came back not that long ago, but I'm like, he's such a natural heel. I feel like that's where he should stay, but I feel like the Miz is an amazing heel too, especially if you watch his work in the ring. His in-ring work as a heel, you can tell he takes things from every heel that kind of he grew up watching. Like he took stuff from Flair, took stuff from Harley Race. You can just tell he took little bits and pieces from everybody.
Yeah, like if anyone has to like say anything about the Miz, right? One of the greatest moments from the Miz is you go watch Talking Smack. I think it was
Yep.
2016.
Yep.
Daniel Bryan, the Miz. That promo he cut like
Yep.
made me like in my brain surefire. This man
Yep.
is extensively talented, and is just a phenomenal. He understands everything that he needs
Yeah.
to be, which is great because he's just himself.
I'll never forget when he cashed in Money in the Bank the first time to win his first WWE title. I popped hard for that. I was absolutely ecstatic, and Greg was still alive at the time, and I remember texting him. He hated Miz, could never, just didn't get him. He's like, "God damn it!" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, this is great." And yeah, he would never let me live that one down. But yeah, that's I'm glad to see people have finally, I feel like, given Miz the respect that he's deserved and earned over the years.
Oh yeah. Another one that's very surprising is, and like recently, I think he's been getting a bit more of like love. Is Jinder Mahal. Because I remember when he won the WWE Championship, everyone was like, "That guy's just a joke." Like he went from losing to everything, WWE champion. But like I actually really liked his title reign. I thought it was entertaining, and like I loved it. But I know like it definitely wasn't a favorite amongst the wrestling community.
And he just recently sat down with Chris Van Fleet, who I think is one of the best wrestling interviewers out there. And I have not yet. That's on my to listen to list here for over the next week or so. As listen to his sit down with Chris Van Fleet, because Chris always does great interviews, and be interesting to hear just Jinder in that type of setting, because you really haven't heard a ton of interviews from that guy over the years.
No,
So
no, you have not.
So continuing to go along here, man. Again, you've only really been doing this a short amount of time, but in the short amount of time that you have been doing this, do you have someone that sticks out to you that's been your favorite opponent to date?
Gavin Parker, hands down. Like absolutely love working with Gavin Parker.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Anybody that has never, if you haven't seen a Gavin Parker match, again, head over to Eminent Wrestling Alliance YouTube. He just had a great match that I had a lot of fun calling with Jimmy Wild from the last Grinnell show. Grinnell show a couple weeks ago. By the way, that venue was fucking fun too.
Mm-hmm.
That venue was incredible. Like I can't wait to get back to that one.
So I was born in Grinnell, and
Okay.
every time we have a show in Grinnell, I'm always surprised with the actual like turnout. I'm always happy to see the town show up and watch the show and be there for it because like it's my home, it's my hometown. Um, like it's just where I'm from, so it's just really cool to see that aspect of Grinnell.
Well, especially like a smaller town like that, you don't know how the turnout's really going to be, especially on a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday in the spring, which is what we had that day. It was really
Yep.
actually pretty nice Saturday. So to get that kind of turnout, it's like if you were, I remember at one point I walked to the back, kind of, I think it was during intermission. I walked to the back of the room towards the locker room to kind of chat with some people, come back out, and you can feel the temperature difference because of how packed that room was. And it's like, yeah, it was really great environment there that week. It's going to be a lot of fun to get back to Grinnell here this year.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait. I think our next show in Grinnell, it will be in August, if I ever remember correctly. Um, it's I'm really
Since
excited about it.
since you've been doing wrestling, obviously you've gotten a chance to kind of mingle with a lot of people, a lot of different legends from here and there, and obviously you've been able to accumulate a lot of advice in your time here in wrestling. Do you have a favorite piece of advice that you've received so far?
I do. It's actually from Bogot. So my very first match with Adam Love, I asked Bo to watch it, and he watched it and he gave me some feedback. And the number one feedback he gave me was about my clotheslines and how to hit them. And the way I was hitting them, it was just basically my opponent was just running into them. And I took that a piece of advice, and uh, I took it. And if you watch my match against Saboteur from Grinnell, and you watch my first match with Adam Love, you can see the difference in clotheslines. Because Saboteur, I turned inside out, uh, and I definitely took that advice from Bo to heart to work on my clotheslines, and now they look great.
And again, if you're gonna take advice from anybody, Bo's been one of my favorite people in wrestling forever. I love anytime that dude is on a show because, and if there's anybody that knows a thing or two about hitting hard, Bo's gonna hit you hard. I know you were probably at Rugged Mania when him and Manders face each other. Those two just slapped the ever living piss out of each other.
Yeah, yeah. That
And
was a really fun match to watch. I really
well,
enjoyed it.
the funny thing about that, I took my father-in-law with me. He's not really the biggest wrestling fan, but my father-in-law is the type of guy that you invite him somewhere, he'll go just to kind of hang out with you and kind of make a night out of it. And when we got done, he's like, "That was probably my favorite match because it was the one that felt the most real because of how hard they hit." And I was like, "Yep, those two, Manders and Bo, are just two hard hitting SOBs."
I believe I cheated in my match.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. All right, we got a couple more things here before we wrap it up for the evening. What are your future goals in pro wrestling?
Long term, WWE. Short term, keep this championship on my waist. Uh,
It's a nice
one
looking
day.
title. It's a nice looking
Oh,
title.
yeah, look at that, it's big and shiny and silver. One day I hope to make it to WWE. I want to. There's only one championship I really want to win in WWE, and it's not the WWE championship. It's actually the Intercontinental Championship. That is like my favorite championship ever. I think some of the best wrestlers in the world have held it. So that's my ultimate goal is to win that one time at least.
And for people that would like to follow you on social media, my friend, where can people follow you at?
I have both an Instagram and a Facebook, and I believe they're both under Reginald Paul Gray. I think one's like Facebook's Reginald Paul Gray wrestler, pro wrestler, and then Instagram I think is just Reginald Paul Gray, and you'll see a picture of my beautiful face.
And again, you can catch Reginald this coming Saturday at Swisher, Iowa, as he defends his EWA title against Adam Love. So again, go watch his very first matchup on the Eminent Wrestling Alliance YouTube page and see the difference in the improvements that they've made since. And again, it's just a very exciting time for Eminent Wrestling Alliance. A lot of shows have been announced for the year. Again, we hit Swisher this coming Saturday. Few weeks after that, in May, we're going to be back in Tama with Just Incredible, which is going to be super cool. I'm excited for big things to come here for Eminent Wrestling Alliance, man. And Again, man, thank you for joining me here
No
tonight
problem.
on the show, man. It's been a real pleasure. I love getting you guys on because everybody's story is so different and so unique, and I just love having you guys on. So it's a lot of fun. But
I
go ahead.
appreciate you having me on. I truly do. This has been a very good time. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. And guys, if we don't see you at the show, we hope to see you next time right here on the World Wide Web.